Hello guys, welcome back. In this video we are going to work on this top navigation. So by end of this video you will be able to create this top toolbar with these icons and little menu items like this. Um, I'm going to use Angular material for this purpose, but you can feel free to use if you want to use Bootstrap or Project Clarity. Basically the concept will be the same. So let's get started. So let's go back to the code, but before we do anything, let me go to this let me browse to my directory here. Okay, and here I'm going to create two different components, sorry, one component and one service. Let's get started. So nggc, and I'm going to call this component settings. So it will be under src, under app, under settings, and I don't need this spec equals to false because I do not need that spec file. Okay, it's giving some error because it has found more than one modules here. That's okay. So all I need to do here, I think, is skip hyphen import. So what this is going to do, that is still going to create the file, but it's not going to include in app.module.ts. That's okay, I can do that manually. Okay, so now let's see. As you can see, the settings.component.ts, it still created that file, but it did not add those into app.module.ts. Okay, so let's quickly do that. I'm going to say import settings component. Perfect. Okay, and I'm going to take this component, declare this thing here. Okay, let's go back to that command prompt window again. Okay, now I need to create one more backend service here. Okay, and I'm going to tell you later why I need to do that. Okay, but for now, just create a backend service because sooner or later in our app we have to create this service. So nggc, instead of c we have to do s, and I'm going to call it a backend service. And ideally I want to create a new services folder here. Okay, but I'm not sure that this command will do that or not. Okay, as you can see, it did create a service here, but it did not. Well, if you're creating nowadays Angular 6, in starting Angular 6, you do not need to explicitly add this into the provider array. Earlier, what you used to do in your app.module, you had to include the services, all the services you are going to use into provider array. But now, as you can see, the backend service, if you know all the new backend services, it says provided in root, so that automatically it's included into the roots. But okay, there's one quick thing I want to do. Again, as I said, I want to copy this. I want to have a separate directory for this one, so I'm going to take this backend.service.ts and I'm going to drag this to the services.this one. Move. Perfect. Okay, so now I have everything what I need. Let me just do a ng serve, so that will have the start my application. Okay, now perfect. Let's go back and let's go to our app.routing module. Perfect. Okay, as you can see, earlier I had headers and footers, but I don't think I need those anymore because header and footer are never going to be a component of their own. Instead, what I want here a settings.component, settings component. Okay. Okay, and I'm going to call this settings. For some reason it did not auto import it, so I'm going to say import settings component from settings perfect. So next thing I want to do, let's go to your shared folder, and remember the footer. So in footer.html, first of all, footer is going to be a sticky footer. And what I mean by that, let's go to the app.component.html first. As you can see, there will be a router outlet. That means everything, all the corresponding components or pages will be displayed here. So let's include a sticky footer. What a sticky footer is, that every component, basically, let me just tell you what footer is. So in footer, usually what I would like to do, I would like to include a copyright statement, say copyright amit.la, or you can include any copyright statement, all rights reserved. So basically the idea is to have this kind of a footer included in all of your, bottom of all your pages. Let me show you what this is. Like this, for example, this one. So this is a sticky footer. You want to include this, it doesn't matter which page you go, you want this to be included in all of your pages. So I'm going to have this footer here. I hope I saved the footer.component.html. I did. Okay. In app.component.html, I'm going to save this as well. Now it's time to work on header. So again, you can argue that I have a sticky footer, but I am also going to have a sticky header. So I can go ahead and include the header statement at top of this one. Let's go to the header.component.html. I'm going to get rid of everything and I'm going to say my top toolbar. Okay, so let's go with this one. And here in app.component.html, I should have included header. That's it. So now let's go to the about.us.component.html. Perfect. So whatever the page is going to be displayed, I hope my application already started. As you can see, it's already started. So it should include, let me just quickly check if I have any error or anything like that. Okay, it compiled beautifully. Okay, but as you can see, it's not able to see that, and it didn't come back. So let's see, let's fix that thing. Let me just refresh it. Okay, and I think I know the reason why it's not doing that, because this is the animation component, and sometimes it happens that it's not, it doesn't work as expected. So I'm just going to say about this page. That's it. Save this one. Okay. By the way, it came back. You see that my top toolbar. I shouldn't have done that. So if I, perfect. If I do this thing. So I'm going to revert my changes and compile this again. As you can see, it came. It will is going to display my top toolbar. Okay, perfect. So now let's go start working on the header.component.html. Okay, so in header.component.html, as I stated earlier, I'm going to use Angular material for everything. Again, is a matter of choice. If you want, you can use any framework like Bootstrap or Project Clarity of your choice. So let's head out to material.angular.io. And in the meantime, I'm going to open one more thing here, say material.io. What material.io is, it's a Google supported framework, and you can find all those icons. So all of these small little icons you are seeing here, this dashboard icon, a settings icon, a shopping cart icon, everything you will find it over there. Okay, I don't believe this is the website, so I'm just going to say Google material icons, and let's go search for it. Okay, this is the site. So at material.io/tools.icon. So that was actually a good site. So anytime, I'm going to use this as a reference only, because sometimes I'm looking for an icon and I don't know how exactly it looks like. So before including that, so for example, I want to know how the dashboard looks like. So dashboard. So, and then you search for it. So it will immediately tell you, okay, how the dashboard icons look like. Perfect. Now let's go to the Angular material.angular.io. Let's browse to the components, and I'm going to the navigation part of it. As you can see, there are 3 different navigation: menu, side nav, and toolbar. In my case, I want to start with the toolbar first. So let's go to the toolbar, and as you can see, it's very easy. I will go to the you can, there are 3 different choices, but in my app, I just want to start with a very basic one. I want to include this basic toolbar. So let's go to the view source, copy this thing here, and if I go to my top toolbar, get rid of this and put my toolbar. Now if I save this and let the app compile, my app should come back and it should have a very nice looking toolbar at the top. I hope there is no compilation error because it's thinking of, okay, perfect. See, it came back with this one. Okay, now here is the idea. As you can see in my app, right now I'm at the sign in page. So it's showing me sign in. What if I don't have an account? So it goes to the another page and it says sign up. And see also this link changes. So the problem is, I want this title to change based on which page user is at. So if that's the case, let's go back to app.component.html. I will not call it a sticky header. So I will exclude this thing, I will get rid of this thing here. So instead of including header at the app.component.html level, I will go to the about us.component.html, and here I'm going to include this on top of this one. Basically, this is the same thing, but I'll tell you what are the advantages are. Okay, so let me save this and compile. Basically, it's going to do the same thing, but instead of this one, I want this to be a dynamic header. So let's go to the header.component.html. Okay, now let me show you one more thing. Header.component.ts. Okay, I'm going to include from core, I want input. So this is a good time to learn about how the input works. So I'm going to say my input, and I want to call it a page title, which is of type string. Perfect. So this is the page title, and I'll show you in a minute how inputs work. So this is the variable page title is available inside your header.component.html. So instead of saying my app, I want to pass this as a dynamic variable. No, that's not what I wanted to do. So this is called page title. Okay, I'm going to copy this here, page title. Okay, I don't know why it was complaining about format. Okay, I'll come back to this file. Maybe perhaps it's okay, so the error goes away. Now go to the about us.component.html. Now see, in header.component.ts, I have defined a variable called page title, which is of type input, and input is a dynamic string here. So what I want to do here, copy this page title. So the idea is wherever I'm going to call this header component, like for example, I'm calling this here. So here I want to pass this page title as a dynamic variable here, and this time I'm going to call it about us. So you will see the difference. That's how you dynamically pass the input parameters from one component to the another. Okay. So the idea is, now I will take this header, and if I'm so let me show you the similar thing in settings.page. Okay, let's go to the settings.component.html while we are waiting here. Okay, but instead, because this page is settings, so instead of saying about us, I want to say that this is the settings page. Okay, now let me get rid of this fall-in function here. Okay, and this, I just want to tell you that this is settings page. So go to about us, settings. Okay, and I don't need this. Settings, I believe, GS. Okay, perfect. Now let's go to copy this over. Let's go to about us.component.html, and I'm just going to copy this button here. Maybe I don't even need that. So here, settings, and I'm going to get rid of this. Okay, and I don't need this chunk. Perfect. So from about us, I'm going to browse to settings, and from settings, I want to browse to about us. Okay, this is not right. About us. Perfect. Okay. So the idea is basically I want to show you, depending on which page you are on, how to dynamically change the page title. So let's go back to the app, and as you can see, this is how you achieve it. See, about us page. Let's go to the settings page, and the title changes. Perfect. Next thing I want to do, let's include this nice little icon there. Okay. So as I said, let's go back to that Angular material, and here actually this is a button. This is not icon, but let me go back to that button. Okay. So here, if I go to the examples, you can include all of any of this. This is a very nice looking fabulous button, and they call it actually fab buttons. So I'm going to include a mini fab button here. Let me go to the source and copy any of the mini fab button here. So I'm going to copy this one. Okay. So let's go back to my header.component.html. So let me close all of this because I don't need now settings and header. Everything what I'm going to do here is going to be at the header level itself. So let me close all of this thing. Let's go to header.component.html. Okay, perfect. Okay, now I want to include this button at the beginning. Okay, but so let me just copy paste it over there. Let me show you what it does. Okay. Okay, while we are waiting, as you can see, my app actually it's not like it's a matte icon here. So let's go and try to figure it out. How can what icon I want to use? So I want to use a dashboard icon. Okay, let me just copy this over here. Okay, so as you can see, if I included the matte the button here, it gives me that it came back with this one, but it came back with the text. But instead of text, I wanted to display an image here. So let's go back and get rid of this warn here, and I'm going to say matte hyphen icon. Okay, and I'm going to say dashboard, and let's see what it does. So is good. What is going to do inside this button is going to show that dashboard matte icon. Okay, now see, beautiful. Okay, now the second thing, as you might have noticed, there is I need a space here. Okay, but I'll come back to this in 1 minute. Let's do one thing. On the right hand side, I want to include couple of links. Like I want to have a settings link, I want to have an email icon or help icon or my account icon. So let's quickly do that. But this one, before I do that, yeah, let's include the right hand. That includes some settings icon at the right hand side of it. So let's go here, and I'm going to include. I'm just going to reuse this code here, but here instead of dashboard, I am going to say include the settings icon here. Okay, let me save this. Nice. It came back with the icon, but the problem is I wanted this icon to be at the extreme right hand side of it. Okay, let me show you how we can do that. So let's go back to that material.angular.io. Let's go to the toolbar. Okay, and as you can see, let's take a complex toolbar. So look at these icons. In these toolbar, what they are showing that, okay, this is at the right hand, extreme right hand side of it, and this is pretty flexible. So if I move my window, as you can see, it adapts to the, it is very responsive in nature. So let's go back and see how they have done it. First of all, I think they are using couple of CSS here. So I'm going to copy this CSS. I'm going to head back to my app, go to my styles.css, and I'm going to include these two CSS classes here. One is example icon and other is example spacer. So what example spacer is, actually this is the giving that feeling that what is pushing that icon to the extreme right hand side. That's exactly what it's doing. And this is example icon. Actually it's just to create a space between two different things. Let me show you how. So let's go to the header.component.html. So after this button, as you can see, so after this button, my title is actually is tied up to this one. So I need to create a space in between. So let's do that. Okay. Here, all I need to do is like span class equals to example icon. That's it. So let me take this thing here, and I'm going to copy this here. But instead of icon, I'm going to use the word say spacer. I think that's the second class we created. Let me make sure that this is the right spelling. Yeah, example spacer and is example icon. So example icon is going to create, like, it's going to introduce a space between um, between a button and the icon and the title. And this example spacer is going to push this to extreme right hand side of it. Okay, maybe I didn't save it. Okay, I didn't save it here. I didn't save the styles.css, so that's why the page didn't refresh. Okay, perfect. Okay, let's wait for it. See, so this is pushed to the extreme right hand side. But now, as you can see, this space is a little too big. Yeah, I didn't intend it to make this. So maybe, instead of 14 pixel, I'll just say 4 pixel. Save this thing. Okay. Now this is enough space. Now while we are waiting, let's go back to this my original app. As you can see, is a very good idea. Depending on the page, you can also introduce a little matte icon here. So for example, see, the icon changes to new here. So let me go back to this one. So I am already taking one input parameter called page title. Now I want to have another input parameter, and I will call it an icon title. Okay. So icon title is this, matte icon. So similarly, let's go to this matte icon title, go back to my About Us page, and here, see, I was passing the page title, but I'm also going to pass, oops, I'm also going to pass that icon title. And in this case, About Us page, let me go and find out a good icon about what it looks like, an About Us page. So I don't think there's any icon called About Us. Say info. Okay, how about the information? Okay, perfect. There's an icon for info. So let's go and say info. So this is the icon I want to get created. Now let's come back to the header.component.ts. I am already accepting an icon title here. Let's go to the header.component.html. And here, between that dashboard icon and between that title, I want to have another icon. And as you can see, it's a dynamic icon. So it's going to change depending on that, depending on the page. Okay, beautiful. Perfect. So right now what it's going to do is going to add another icon over there. Okay. Now let's do one thing. Let's go to the aboutus.component.html and copy this header piece here. Okay. Let's go to settings.component.html, and I believe we need to change this over here as well. But here it was settings. So in the settings page, when user is on settings page, the page title is settings, and icon title. Let's see if I can find a nice Google icon for settings. So settings. Oh, beautiful. So there are icons for settings. Settings. Perfect. Save this one. Okay. So depending on which page I am, if I am on the settings page or if I am on the About Us page, is going to display another icon. So what is the next thing we can do? So let's go back to this one. As you can see, I have also included a help icon here, and let me show you what this help icon does. If I click on this one, it displays a nice help here. In this case, I don't have this. So let me go to another page. See, it tells you what. It's a very good idea. I think it's a very, very good idea to include help in your page. So if a user is lost and he wants to know, okay, what this page does, it will include the help page here. But let me show you another trick. Depending on the page, you can also change the help here. Okay, so let's first include the help icon there, and then I'll show you how you can change the actual help being displayed depending on the page. So very similar thing. Okay, now here I'm going to add one more input, and I'm going to call it a help input. Okay, so help title. Now let's go back to the aboutus.component.html. Okay, and I'm going to say, help title equals to About Us page help. Okay. So it's, it's not actually the real text. It's a very bad idea to pass real text, because your help could be entire, 3 or 4 lines. It's a bad idea to pass those as a variable. So I'm just going to pass this as a, I'm going to pass this as a reference variable only. The actual, depending on this, you can create an ng if it statement and, show the actual help out there. So let's do, before I do that, let me just take this thing here. Let's go back to the settings.component.html. So here, instead of about us, I'm going to say settings. Okay, perfect. Now let's go back to the header.component.ts. I'm expecting a help.title here. So let's go to the header.component.html. And here, before settings, what I want to do, I want to have another help icon here. Okay, so as you see, I'm just copy pasting there. Here I'm going to say help. Okay, now let me see if there's any icon called help or not. So copy this. Again, all of these icons, I'm using this site as a reference, and as you can see, there is an icon. If you want to use this, say help_outline, just copy paste it over there. Instead of help, just say help_outline. Perfect. So what it's going to do is going to display that icon there. Okay. Now, okay. Now is a matter of how to display this text. Okay. Perfect. As you can see, it is created. Maybe it's, I need to adjust the spacing between the CSS between this thing. And if I click on this, it should display a nice little help. So let me fix that. Now, how do I do that? Let's go back to the Angular material, and I want to show you the menu. So look at this. If I click on this, it displays the little menu here. Okay. Now let me look at the code. Basically, what it does. So on the menu item, that means on the button, if you want to, where you want to drop that menu, you have to put a trigger. It's called mat menu trigger called menu, and then you define a menu there. Okay. So let me just copy this over here. Okay. So on the help outline here, I'm going to put menu. Mat menu is called menu. So instead of menu, I want to call it a say help menu. Let's give it a good name. So and here I am going to say, so remember that help title. Okay. So this is the text. It is coming from that as an input variable here, help menu. Now here, so this is the place where I want to drop that menu. So I'm going to copy this here. Paste it over here, but instead of menus, it should match with this word help menu, so it will know, okay, what menu to open. Basically simple. So all I'm doing at the help outline, if I click on this, I want a drop down to I want to nice little help to appear. So what is going to do, the moment I click on this one, is going to open this, and it will have the help title there. Okay, now again, let's go back to this help title thing here. Okay, this is the actual help title I'm passing here. But again, as I said, please use this as a variable here. So instead, I could have done something like that. If star ng if, and you say, so for example, help title equal to this, okay, and then you say this is settings page. Sorry about my typo today. Help. Okay, and then copy this over. Okay, now let's go to the about us.component.html. Copy this variable here. So let's see if this works or not. So basically, depending on, you see, that's how you manipulate your help. And it could be a totally different file. It's a bad idea. If you have a limited number of help here, you can include this, but that's how your help is going to change. So let's go back to that application. While it's still compiling. Okay, I didn't fix this, but I'm going to fix this. So I'm at the settings page. If I click on this, see, this is the settings page help. Okay, now let's go to the about us page. And if I click on this, see, it's going to be It is still saying it says about us page. So let me fix these two things. Okay, so let's go back here. Oh, okay, sorry, because I didn't change this one. About us page help. Okay, now let me fix also the example is spacer. Okay, this shouldn't be spacer, this should be icon. So save this, perfect. So now if I compile, so what I did, this is going to push this icon to the extreme right hand side, and then the setting like this help changes. Okay, so basically that's exactly what I'm doing in this app. Sorry, go back here. So look at this. So this, and you can put any information you like here, and it's a very good idea. Again, I keep on saying it's a very good idea to include help link over there. Perfect. So let me just show, quickly check our app. See that this is the about page as help. Let's go to the settings page, click on this, and it should change. The help now changes as per which page I am. And similarly, as you can see the icons. So go to the about us page, see that icon change and title changes. Go to the settings, see these things are changing. Perfect. Now, what is the next thing we want to accomplish? So we have to include a couple of more icons here. One is the settings page icon. This is the shopping cart, and there's an email. Okay. But before I do that, there's also a drop down. So what this is actually a running menu. What I'm thinking, instead of putting this menu here, because this icon is doing nothing, and it looks like, is a red icon there, and people will think that this is the navigation. Right now, if I click on this, it does nothing. So I'm going to move all of these icons under this navigation. Okay. So let's quickly do this thing. Okay. Let's include another menu item here and include this thing over here. Okay. So let's go dashboard. Same thing. I want to create a matte menu trigger. Add this icon, dashboard. Okay. But instead of calling the help menu, I will call it, say, navigation menu. So nav menu. Okay. Now let me create a nav menu here. New nav menu, and I'm going to get rid of all of this, and I'm going to put, say, navigation links. Okay. Now just to save the time, because I already have that navigation, and I'm going to copy paste over there, but let me wait for 1 minute. Okay. So basically that will take care of this navigation thing here. Perfect. And I also wanted to include 2 more icons at the right. Perfect, navigation links. So now it is time to put the real links over there. Now let me talk this for a minute. So you can include your application pages links here. It will act like a navigation bar. But also I want to include my contact us pages like Facebook, LinkedIn, GitHub, or whatever you like. So those kind of information as in there. Okay. So for example, if I want to include my Facebook login here. Okay. So let me show you how you to include all of those things here.